Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. Great to have you here with me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. We got some big changes with our potential nor'easter. There is a much further southerly track with this system, bringing those snowfall totals the heaviest, some 120 to 150 miles south of where they were originally forecast to be. As we have seen that the system developing across the southeast has not gone as negatively tilted as originally thought. It's still forecast to become a major nor'easter, so we'll explore which areas are likely to see the heaviest snowfall accumulation. And we'll continue to explore to see if we're actually destined to see the polar vortex later this month, or are we going to see a major back and forth? We'll get into all the details and what could be a wintry end of February. Let's get into it. And before we dive in here, this has to do with this system not becoming as cranked and negatively tilted. You can still see it's positively tilted throughout the day on the 12th, Monday here, and then it doesn't start to become negatively tilted until it gets off the coast. So that's the more southerly track. And this is where I wanted to show you where here's the GFS first. Look at how much further south this area of heavy snow is. This is significant because areas to the north of this, we're supposed to see all the heavy snow. That's shifted to the south. And areas where we're supposed to see rain across eastern Pennsylvania, southern Pennsylvania, parts of central and northern New Jersey, Long Island, southern New England are now going to see some heavy snow. And here we go. This is the band of snow that's much further to the south. This is kind of crazy if you think about this, because this is a good 120 to 150 miles south of the original heavy band that was positioned much further to the north just 24 to 48 hours ago. So you can see some of these snowfall accumulations, eastern, southern Pennsylvania, northern and central New Jersey, even New York City, Long Island, southern New England. That's where the heaviest snowfall on the order of, say, 5 to 10 inches is likely to fall. All right, look at the European model here. I don't know what's going on with the Euro. I think it's still having some trouble, grabbing a hold of this system, but nevertheless, yeah, the trend is further south and east. Now, I wanted to throw in a mesoscale model here. Here is the HRRR future radar, essentially here. Very much in agreement with the GFS. In fact, you could arguably say here that the HRRR and the GFS are pretty much on board with each other. Look at how crazy this is, though. You go from Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area, warning criteria almost 6+ inches, and then Binghamton, New York, almost nothing. So essentially, there's going to be a huge cutoff here. And look at this. We're really ramping up snowfall totals to warning criteria here on the south and east side of this area of swath of snow. So if we start off with the GFS model here, you can see our low pressure system as we head later on this evening and into tonight is cruising on up into the northeast. Now, this is a very fast moving system. This is what is going to keep snowfall totals beyond, getting to the staggering point. But you can see the wraparound snow all the way into eastern Tennessee here, parts of eastern Kentucky, southeastern part of Ohio, and the northern fringes here initially of northern Pennsylvania and southern New England. Now, I'm going to try to slow this down because you can see 4 a.m., this is going to be a fast mover. You can see heavy snow breaking out across central Pennsylvania. The column of air is going to cool here as we head throughout 7 a.m. So you can start to see Harrisburg, Scranton, Hartford, Boston, Albany, these areas getting into some heavy snow just in time for your morning commute here for Tuesday morning. Now look how fast this really switches over to snow here in New Jersey, New York City, parts of Long Island, and southeastern New England. This is 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Look at that, 984 millibar low blasting up here. So this still looks to forecast to be a nor'easter. This is 1 p.m. We're still having heavy snow breaking out from New York City on northeastward here across Long Island, Boston area. This is where we could see snowfall rates of up to 2 to as much as 3 inches per hour. And this starts to pull away towards 4 p.m. We're still getting clipped in parts of Cape Cod. I do want to make note, look at this energy behind the system kicking in. Some lake enhancement. You may pick up an inch or two of snow showers southeast of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario behind this system as some lake effect kicks in. Look at Nova Scotia getting hit with this heavy storm as well. This is a 976 millibar low by this point, but look how fast it moves off to the northeast here. 970 millibars by 10 p.m. on Tuesday. This thing's really booking it towards the northeast here. And as you can see, that moves completely out of the picture by the time we get to Valentine's Day. All right, so here is our HRRR future radar as we go throughout the rest of your Monday here. This is 4 p.m. in the afternoon. We're going to see some big-time thunderstorms continuing, severe weather possible across parts of the southeast here. Lots of heavy rain up in the Tennessee Valley here. Here's your area of low pressure tracking much further to the south than originally forecast. That's going to keep the severe weather suppressed mainly across Georgia, the Carolinas, and Florida as we head throughout the afternoon and the evening hours. This is 8 p.m. You still don't see any snowfall on the northern fringe here. You don't start to see that until about midnight tonight. You start to see heavy wet snow breaking out across Tennessee, parts of eastern Kentucky, and then the northern fringes of this system. Look at that. As the column of air cools and the precipitation really ramps up as this low pressure really starts to strengthen, you're going to start to see the snow line, rain snow line, shift further to the south and the east here. You see the northern fringe getting as far as Binghamton, 4 a.m., but it's going to be light snow. Scranton, southward, that's where you're going to see the really heavy snow kicking in. This is 7 a.m., so right in time for your morning commute. We're already switching over to snow here in New York City. Rain and snow mix around Philadelphia and Baltimore as well. Harrisburg getting some heavy snow as well. Boston, you're teetering right on the edge at this point. Here is that low pressure initializing at 986 millibars. That's a hefty low pressure system. You see that classic comma shaped of this storm as we head throughout the late morning hours. You can see that heavier snow bands really kicking in 9 a.m. across the corridor of the Northeast here from the Mid-Atlantic to the Northeast. This is noon. Look what's happening. Most of New Jersey is switching over to a heavy wet snow, as well as Long Island and parts of Cape Cod as well. We're really going to rack up those snowfall rates, 1 to 2, maybe as high as 3 inches an hour. 976 millibars is turning into a full-blown nor'easter by 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. here. We're still dealing with heavy snow and wind here across southeastern New England. That's probably where we're going to rack up some very hefty snowfall totals. Just to the west, you start to see some of these lake-enhanced snow showers with this next energy behind it, behind this main system. So watch this. We're going to go into a couple more frames here. This is by 7 p.m. We're still pulling through some very heavy snow across Cape Cod here. Scattered snow showers developing here across the eastern lakes and the Northeast as this system winds up off the Nova Scotia coastline here. Look at this getting hit really hard. Here it is behind it. We're still getting some scattered snow showers behind this system as we head throughout 10 p.m. on Tuesday evening. And look at that. It's going to be a fading memory as we get into 7 a.m. on Valentine's Day. And here we go with the European model. This model is shifted much further to the south. You can see severe thunderstorms continuing as we head throughout the rest of your Monday into Monday evening across the southeast as this area of low pressure really winds up across the Tennessee River Valley. You can see the low tracking much further to the south here into across parts of southern Virginia, northern part of North Carolina by 1 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Look at this. Yeah, so just to the north, that's where you're going to start to see the snowfall accumulations. Low pressure moving just off the coast here is a 986 millibar low. So the European model pushing the heaviest snow even further to the south and east here into parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast corridor here. And as we continue to go out in time, wow, this is a fast mover. I have to slow this down frame by frame for you. Let's go to 10 a.m. here on Tuesday morning. You can see the heaviest band of snow indicated by the green area here. So this is where we could rack up some hefty snowfall rates here as this system, each model run continues to wobble this a little bit further to the south. Here is 4 p.m. We're still dealing with heavy snow here in southeastern New England, and this continues to wind up in parts of Nova Scotia. Behind it, you can see there is that snowfall kicking in southeast of Lakes Erie and Lake Ontario, where we could pick up an additional inch or two. In some of those areas that didn't even see any snow from this system, that pulls up into the Canadian Maritimes by about the time Valentine's Day. All right, so let's take a look at our upper air pattern here. There is the European model. This system remaining not negatively tilted like originally thought. It's more positively tilted, at least through Tuesday morning here. You can see that orientation from the northeast to the southwest. To see a more stronger storm, we kind of want to see orientation from the northwest to the southeast, and that system is going to continue to progress. It does start to become negatively tilted here. You can see it on the isobars here as we continue to go in time. So This will strengthen, but for many of you in interior sections, it'll be too late by that point. Coastal sections have a better chance of some of that heavier snow, and you see that really kicking off to the northeast as we build in a ridge behind it. But look at our next system here. This is a Alberta Clipper type system heading to the south and the east later this week. And as we take a look at the medium range CFS model, you can see as we go through the rest of the month, there is another trough kicking through around the 18th. A ridge quickly builds in behind it on the 20th, but what I really want to fast forward to here is right around the 26th, 27th, 28th time frame. This is where we're going to start to see some interesting weather. Now, initially, we were looking at a much colder push, but, we see some ridging going on here. But we will have some storms moving through the area. Unfortunately for you snow lovers, look what starts to happen in the east come the first week of March. You kind of knew this was coming until about the 6th. So, yeah, we're going to see a back and forth, a tug of war. Look at this negatively tilted trough here. So that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. And then as we head through March 9th and 10th, look at that. If this materializes come mid-March, wow, that is a big trough. And here is John from Tom Chattelbosch Park here in downstate New York. Take a look at this. Some nice water flowing here through the park. Looks beautiful. Listen to that. Nice serene water just flowing through the rocks here. Looks like a really relaxing time of it, John. So nice captures. Liquid equivalent precipitation totals here across the east. You can see there's two bullseyes, one on the northern side of the system that's likely to be a lot of frozen precipitation, 1 inch to 1.5 inches. That could translate to a lot of snow, but here across the southeast, that is with that severe weather in excess of 3 to 4 inches of rain. And you can see it here on the European model as well. European model obviously much further to the south here on that northern extent of the precipitation. And then here across the southeast, that's where the severe weather is kicking up with excess of 2 to as much as 3 inches of rainfall. Canadian winter storm outlook. Let's take a look here. There is actually not a whole lot happening here. The areas that are going to see the most snow, obviously, are going to be Nova Scotia. Let's just take a look here across southeastern Canada as we get into the 13th and the 14th here. We're going to be looking at heavy snow from Nova Scotia all the way up to Newfoundland here. We have a weak Alberta Clipper style system here across central Canada as we go on time. That's going to affect southern Ontario and Quebec here as we get into the 15th and into the 16th with, say, 5 to 10 centimeters of snowfall here. But for the most part, that pushing to the southeast towards Nova Scotia becomes coastal again, and another coastal system by the 18th. You can see most of Canada remaining dry here. We desperately need some sort of snowpack developing here. Hopefully we can get some snow, but look at this. As we go in time, it looks like most of the systems, with the exception for southeast Canada, as we get towards the last week of February here, we're getting to February 24th. Look at New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, parts of southeast Canada here getting hit again with more heavy snow and wind. And look at this. We are piling on a little bit of snow here across southern Canada. That is some good news for, the drought situation as we go through the end of the month here towards the 27th into the 28th. However, the common theme here across Canada is very stormy across southeast Canada, some light snows here across parts of southern Ontario and Quebec, and almost nothing here in the Canadian heartland up towards the Plains region and the Rocky Mountains. You have to go west of the Rockies here, the coastal west coast of Canada, to get into, continuous rain along the coast and heavy snow across the interior mountains. And for snowfall accumulations here, our Canadian outlook getting anywhere from about 10 to as much as 30 centimeters of snowfall here across Nova Scotia and Newfoundland with our big nor'easter. And even some snowfall here across southern Ontario and Quebec could actually amount to about 10-15 centimeters of snowfall. To my Caribbean viewers, Central America, Bahamas, I want to take a look at your weather here as well. High pressure building in here across much of the islands as we continue through the rest of the week. However, we are dealing with a stalled out frontal boundary with our East Coast system. Showers kicking up across Nicaragua, parts of Belize here, and parts of the northern Bahamas as well. Even some showers here with a weak tropical wave across Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. That's shifting westward here towards Belize as we head into Valentine's Day in Central America towards Honduras and Nicaragua. You can see that stalled out out frontal boundary showing up very prominently here across the northern Caribbean. We're going to kick off some showers and thunder showers from Central America over to Jamaica as we head through the 15th here, even some showers over towards the Lesser Antilles here. And look at this as we continue to go in time. We have an area of low pressure kicking off the Colombian coastline here. That's going to push showers and thunder showers here across Panama and Costa Rica. That's heading west. But look what's happening by the 19th here. We do actually have an area of low pressure developing here across the southeastern Gulf. That's going to bring in some tropical moisture here across Central America, parts of the Cayman Islands, maybe even as far east as Jamaica, and especially the northern Bahamas here and South Florida across the Florida Straits. You can see, look at that. Nassau, Bahamas up there getting some hefty rainfall. That's going to move to the northeast as we go out in time towards the 19th. So that's going to bring some hefty showers and thunder showers here from Central America all the way up across the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. So it's almost going to feel like we're getting into a rainy season here as we go out in time. And you see that frontal boundary shift southward here, installs across Jamaica, all the way down towards Nicaragua and Costa Rica here as we head through the 21st of February. And you can see that pushes towards Puerto Rico and areas towards the Virgin Islands as we get towards the 21st into the 22nd. So if you take a look at the Caribbean rainfall totals here, yeah, as we head through the rest of the week, Jamaica, Cayman Islands picking up about, say, 6 to 10 millimeters of rainfall here. Not too much. Belize, Honduras, coastal areas catching on a bit more, 40 to 60 millimeters. But look at that as we continue to head in time. Yeah, we're getting a little wetter as we head towards the end of the month. You can see Central America, especially coastal areas, picking up more. Little bit in the way of a lull in precipitation here across the islands. Northern Bahamas getting upwards of 60 to 90 millimeters. 2 to 3 inches. As we head across the eastern Caribbean, what is going on here? We have some weak tropical moisture heading through the central northern Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, upwards of, say, 10 to 25 millimeters here. Nothing more than a half to 3/4 of an inch. The Bahamas staying mostly dry, less than 6 millimeters here. As we continue to go towards the end of the month, though, look at this. We start to crank up some tropical moisture here across the islands. Northern Bahamas getting clipped, but the southern Bahamas staying mostly dry. I got plenty more weather for you in just a moment, but take a look at my affiliate. Do you want some awesome maps? Check this out. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. Taking a look at temperatures here. This is going to be the big story. There's where the cold air is at. It's marginally cold in the northeast as we go into our potential snowstorm, but then it reinforces behind this system. You can see lots of 20s filtering in behind it here. And look at the warmth building. We're actually seeing a baroclinic zone setting up here across the Central Plains. You can see warm versus the clashing cold air mass to the northwest here. And we're going to keep that going here. We're going to kind of squeeze this cold air and warm air together. And there's going to be a battleground somewhere. Look at the northeast staying cooler as well. But just, not anytime like bitter cold outbreaks. Now look at the northern plains. We start to see this surge of colder air towards the south as we get into Friday, and watch this into Saturday. That kind of slips towards the lakes and the northeast, moderating a bit into the 30s and upper 20s as well. You can see a little bit of cooler air making it deep down into the south, but it doesn't make much headway. Look at this. We're bouncing back north here with these warmer temperatures, even Florida here. A little bit of a coolness here to the north, but that can be expected this time of year. Extended outlook from hometown viewers, upper Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania, Binghamton to Scranton. It's going to be two different worlds. Binghamton, I think, with the snow moving in, basically Monday night and Tuesday, an inch or less likely. significantly lower. Scranton, you could see 3 to 6 inches locally, higher amounts to 8 inches in some areas. So as this storm pulls away, we're going to see colder air filter, and behind it a clipper system for Thursday night, an inch or less possible, turning breezy for Friday and the weekend. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also at Weather Northeastern, also at Hurricane Northeastern, and also at Susquehanna Weather. Also Twitter at Weather Eastern. And you can visit me at MeteoMark.com. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to check out my winter weather outlook for 2023-24, and link in the description down below, as well as my affiliate, Trilogy Maps.